So there's always that debate between football fans, though. Who's the best? Who could get into what era? Which player could, hack it with the best of the best of the best? I know we've always had debates about these kind of things, but this episode, and welcome back to another episode on Kick and Glory. Today, we're going to be talking about all-time 11 versus the current 11. So, as always, I'm joined by Matthew.
Hi there.
All right, let's get into this. So, we were thinking about what would make, not the all-time 11, the top 10 players from the Premier League era. So, we had our own thoughts, and we'll kind of get into our own thoughts at another time. But we thought we'd consult the experts, or the perceived experts. And so FourFourTwo have done a nice little breakdown of 10 players who they think are the best 10 players that have played in the Premier League. Starting off with number 10, they have Paul Scholes of Manchester United. Of course, we've got 9 is Patrick Vieira of Arsenal and Man City. 8 is Frank Lampard of West Ham, Chelsea and Manchester City. Steven Gerrard in 7 from Liverpool. In number 6, we've got Eric Cantona, the great, from Leeds and United. Leeds and Manchester United, I'll clarify. I know Leeds fans will claim they're the United, and I'm not going to argue with them. Number 5, we've got Ryan Giggs, a man that you would definitely leave around your wife. And number 4, you've got Wayne Rooney of Everton and Manchester United. And then we've got in 3rd place, Alan Shearer of Blackburn Rovers and, of course, Newcastle United. Number 2, the great one, he's back in the league again, Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo of Manchester United. And, of course, in number 1, who else would it be? The great, number 14, Thierry Henry, my brother. Well, he's not my brother, really, but you know what I mean. Like Henry, the man, the legend. So that's their 10. Their top 10 players in Premier League history, Premier League era.
That's the best 10 we've had.
Very good, solid list. This article was written in February of 2021. So I know some people out there might argue that there should be some players in the current era that might deserve to be in that list. We're going to get to that.
All right.
So let's flip over from the then to the now. Who would make up your current Premier League top 10? Who are the best 10 players in the league right now?
Got 10.
All right, let's
start off. We talked about earlier, Mo Salah.
Mr. Mo Salah.
Gotta put Mo Salah in there. It doesn't seem fair not to have it. I was thinking De Bruyne, go get Kevin.
De Bruyne, yeah.
Probably one of the best Premier League players for the past, 4 or 5 years. I'm going to put Kante in there.
N'Golo Kante.
I'm going to put N'Golo in there. We've got 3. Number 4, I'm going to put in. How do you feel about putting Trent in there?
Well, I mean, it is based on current players. I have no issue with Alexander Arnold. We'll have to argue that at some point.
I've got a sneaking, scary feeling it's going to be a whole list of Man City or Liverpool players, but we've got to try.
Number 5, Harry Kane.
It's only fair. Are you talking about right now or?
Just who are playing right now in the league? The top 10 players in the league that are currently playing.
We got Kane, we got Trent, we got Kante, we got
De Bruyne, we got Salah.
De Bruyne. 5 down, 5 to go. How about? It can't always be about the ones who bag over trophies. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be like just good players in there. With your wild cards in there, it's going to be something. We got anyone else in mind? I'm stuck on one particular name, but I'm not sure people are going to agree. I'm not even agreeing with it myself.
Who's the name?
It was Ward-Prowse, but I don't think I agree with it. Nah.
Top 10 players in the league right now. James Ward-Prowse. I mean, he's a baller.
Top 20 maybe or 30?
I think top 20 maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely have to have Alisson, goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Alisson, he's just clear. Virgil.
I was thinking of Virgil.
Van Dijk, have to have him in there at the back.
How many
leaves us with 3 more spaces to fill.
Or 3 more, that's all right.
I don't even think it's oh gosh, there's some players that are just like clear.
I think we're nearing almost like the clear ones. We're getting past them. What about Sterling? Sterling maybe?
Raheem. Yeah. Sterling. That gives us 2 more to go for our top 10 current players in the league. What do you think about Pogba, sorry. It's a bit of a tough one.
He can do it purely on his ability.
But would you say he's a top 10 player in the league? Because it's like,
Not. If he was a bit more consistent, then yes. And if he was getting more game time, definitely yes.
Okay. So we're not... Pogba's not making our list.
It's a harsh one, but yeah, sorry.
I was trying to think around different things. I mean, if you're looking at City's team, you look at Mahrez.
Yeah, Mahrez.
Is he one of the best wingers in the league?
Foden.
I wouldn't put Foden in the top 10. I would have said Jack Grealish of last season.
Yeah.
Not of this season. I think definitely Bernardo.
Bernardo Silva. Annoyingly consistently good.
Silva. So we need one more. Our last player of the top 10 players in the Premier League. So we got Bernardo. Who else makes the cut? Top 10. We got Salah, De Bruyne, Kante, Alexander-Arnold, Kane, Alisson, Van Dijk, Sterling, Bernardo Silva, and one more. And now I'm thinking far and wide. Any Chelsea players you think would get a shout in? Get a look in rather?
I'm thinking. I'm trying.
Like, you got Kante already, but
Kante's
is anyone else?
There must be another one. There's got to be another one in there. Like
good players like Rudiger.
He's
probably one of the better centre backs in the league.
Definitely.
If not him, no, Aspilicueta is not getting in top 10.
Rudiger.
I think Ramsdale's been on form to be one of the best goalkeepers in the league, but I don't know if I put him in top 10 players in the league.
I mean, he was at 2 relegation threatened clubs for a while, but that wasn't necessarily his fault.
But we're going off this season as well. And we're just going off like certified players that you'd think
over the years were just certified.
And not just that, they're getting your team.
They're
getting any team. So all these players listed so far would get in any team without question. You might argue whether some of them start or whether they should start, but all of them are certified to get in any team. Then
one more player. This is tougher, isn't it? Come on. I mean, I was thinking of Son, but that's a terrible idea.
I think he's definitely up.
He's on the cusp. He's on like the verge of. He's got foot in the door. I think if you're talking Spurs,
I'd say Fabinho then as a holding mid.
Fabinho?
I think so. And if not him,
this is harder than we thought.
Top 10 player. I think Fabinho, definitely. Yeah? Because when he's not there, the difference. He's one of those players that's like, when he's not there, you notice it.
Difference,
without a shadow of a doubt. But when he is there, it's just like, yeah.
He's him.
It's weird that Kane's our only striker, though. That's a bit of a weird one.
Salah can play there, but he's not a natural striker. If you're thinking of another striker in league, because it's a shame that like if Aguero went for a bit longer, you'd have Aguero in there, but he fell off the pace and he retired.
Well, also no, it's 10 players that are currently playing, and Aguero is not in the Premier League anymore, so he wouldn't be under consideration. All right, so we got our 10. So that's Salah, De Bruyne, Kante, Alexander-Arnold, Kane, Alisson, Van Dijk, Sterling, Bernardo Silva, and Fabinho to make the last, but not the least. That is one heck of a 10. So, if we're going to look at this current 10 versus these legends, as 4-4-2 put them, who's the first name that drops out of the legends team, and who's the first name that you think definitely gets in there? So, okay, so let's do it this way, because obviously we haven't put ours in order; they've put theirs in order. Who would you say is number one in the Premier League right now? Would you say Salah is the best player?
Absolutely, not even a shadow of a doubt.
I don't see Salah replacing Henry in this list.
Number one.
Yeah.
I think as Henry came with it must have been at the era of football that was in back then, because we were talking about late 90s, early 2000s, and there was a sort of it's like a football was kind of shifting to something a bit different at the time, because it left that kind of style of like the point and square football style. He bought they've had foreign players before then, like say Cantonas and Yozolas and stuff, but he bought something a little bit different. He bought that, not to sound cliche, he bought that Vavavoom. Vavavoom was him, and it was synonymous with Arsenal. And as good as someone to say, was it Salah or De Bruyne put it number one for
Salah?
As good as Salah is, he brings something different, but it's not quite Vavavoom. It's not quite the style. It's not as. I mean,
he captivates. He does captivate a fan base.
Yeah,
but like Omri is like box office, man. You're
He was
you're flying in
headliner.
from everywhere to watch him.
Yeah, he was Hollywood.
Whereas
He
I
was-
don't know if you would do that with Salah. I mean, to be fair, I'd like to watch Salah live is amazing.
Yeah.
But I just think Omri just gave you more.
Henry had a
as an
style.
all-round
He had a
entertainer.
swag. He was an entertainer. He was, and it's a bit like, I don't know, it's almost like Usain Bolt. Like, he wasn't just like a sportsman. He was an entertainer. It was fun. He made it fun, and you know, but him and them, they come from different paths, I suppose. So
I think that's the big thing. So I guess looking at these two lists, so if we that's it. Yeah, okay. So we've got a top 10 now. We've got a top 10 then. If we were going to do a combined top 10, so looking at, let's go from the veterans, the legend. So of that list, so Omri, Cristiano Ronaldo, Shearer, Rooney, Giggs, Cantona, Gerrard, Lampard, Vieira, and Scholes. Who doesn't stay in? Who gets dropped out straight away?
that's tough. That's really harsh. Oh, I got a feeling.
Not harsh for me. I'm dropping Giggs.
Dropping Giggs.
I'm dropping Scholes. Because I feel like there's players now that can replace them with no problems.
Yeah, I mean, I'd find it hard to replace Scholes, but I wouldn't find it hard to replace Giggs because I think his. Not saying I don't remember what he brought to like saying Man United, but I'm not a Man United fan. But I do feel like, I mean, was he left winger?
Left winger, yeah.
Left winger, yeah. We've got nowadays you've got wingers for days, and not even necessarily just at the big clubs, even at the smaller clubs. But sticking to his list, I mean, Salah rung rings around him.
Yeah, that for me, that
Yeah.
to me is a straightforward swap. It's definitely Giggs out, Salah in.
And because you're not watching Man United on a regular basis, you often don't see. He bought something. Let's be real. He bought something.
Yeah, he had good goals. Let's
goals.
not forget he was an incredible dribbler.
Yeah.
Great speed, great
And
directness.
consistently, he's for a long, long time being a part of that winning team.
Really good set piece delivery, really good cross off the ball. Like he created and scored his good amount of goals. And you know, when you were playing against Manchester United for a number of years, when you saw Giggs on the wing, it was a problem.
Big trouble.
There was a problem. You had to figure out solutions to stop him. So he was definitely an archetype wide player. But you look at what Mo Salah is, and I know, you can argue positionally they're a bit different because Salah starts wide, but he comes in more. So he's more of like a wide forward, whereas Giggs was a winger predominantly
pure winger. So it's like a case of it couldn't adapt outside of another role. He was a winger. So Giggs was a winger and only. He would never like cut in. He'd stay in his place. Whereas Salah's like, no, I can come inside. I got that. I've got something a bit more about me. It's a bit more of an advanced role.
But I feel like Salah, you could drop him and play, like you could play him in the role that Giggs played. I don't think you could do the other way. I don't think Giggs could play the role Salah plays.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know if he would be as effective cutting in and just the interplay. I don't know if he'd be able to do that. That's not to discredit what Ryan Giggs was.
No. But I think the game.
I think there's just a level to what Mo Salah could do. I just don't think Giggs could do the same.
Nah.
So I think that's an easy one. You said you would struggle to remove Scholes. Why do you feel that is?
Because purely, but just by reputation. Maybe if you ask a lot of the best players, especially I think it was someone like Zidane or Maldini or one of them, I can't remember, but they always credit as one of the best players they've ever played against was against Paul Scholes, and also for the fact that I know we're going off topic for international sense. We never got to see, and same with Shearer, we never got to saw them at their best at the international level. I do genuinely think he brings a little bit more to the game, but as dropping him, I can kind of wholly see why you would do it. I think but I think that it goes off by his reputation, plus in that fearful midfield it had for Man United with Fergie and everything. So, but I get why you drop him. I get why. So
yeah, I just think I look at the players now, and I look at like a Kante, I look at Bernardo Silva from a more attacking sense, and I just feel like they just give you so much more. I think Kante is all action play. To me, yeah, I think he would be in an all-time 11. Although if someone was to turn around and say, yeah, but if you were to say compare or have it be a debate between Kante and Vieira, that's a whole different conversation. Patrick's not going anywhere. But if we're talking about Scholes and say Bernardo Silva, would I prefer to have Paul Scholes in my midfield or Bernardo Silva?
Probably Bernardo Silva.
That's a hard one because I mean, with Scholes, you got the passing, you got the incredible goal scoring ability, you got the hammer of a right foot.
Yeah,
you could whack a ball like nobody's business. But I just feel like with Bernardo Silva, with how the game is now,
yeah, he suits more the game.
He could play one touch, two touch in the bloody phone box. and still keep the ball under control.
And that left foot.
And he left foot,
devastating
and
left
so.
foot. And did he have problems with fitness as well? If we're going off
Scholes.
yeah, did he have
a little bit. I mean, Bernardo's had a few injuries too, so. But I guess would you want to drop? Do you want to? You don't really want to drop Scholes, so I think we can keep him in. It's a hard one, but I think
bench. He doesn't start. He doesn't start. I think.
I tell you what. Here's the big question then: if you had a cup final, right? Cup final, and you got to pick one of the two of them.
Damn.
Who you starting with and why? Because I think that settles it. Which player would you want to be in your team in a cup final situation?
I'll probably start Bernardo. Just because if I need someone to if I need someone with that little bit more it kind of depends on the game's going though, doesn't it? It just depends on how the
it's
game's
pre-game.
Going. Pre-game.
You don't even know the game state. You're picking your 11.
Actually, no. I'll probably start Paul.
But Scholes.
Yeah, I'll probably start Paul, yeah.
I would too.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I'll probably start Paul.
Because I just think that outside of what he would physically do with the ball at his feet, I think technically, Bernardo Silva is probably better technical level. I don't think there's a massive gap between them in terms of what they would bring to a. No, that's not true because they bring different elements to a team.
Yeah.
But I think if we're going on a raw technical level in terms of like executing certain things, I think they're very similar. But I would probably prefer Scholes just because I just think. When the going gets tough, I feel like he would find that extra edge that you'd need. And okay, he can't tackle, so that's what you're going to lose out. I think Bernardo's a better tackler, but I just think Scholes would give you that little extra.
And he was in a team of purely improvising as well, so he'd pull something out of the bag.
All right, that keeps him. Yeah. Our next player that we could argue, then after that, then it's getting into very techie. So into very techie, it gets very, very technical. So we're looking at the Fab Three, who we talked about last week in the podcast: Vieira, Lampard, and Gerrard, or the last episode rather. Of those three, does any of them get dropped, or does none of them get dropped? Because that's a hard one. And so the people that would replace them, because we're not going position for position. So anyone from our current list would be a replacement for them. But if we want to keep it nice and fair, and easier to kind of deliberate over. It will be an option of either Fabinho, Kante, and De Bruyne.
Oh,
so that's it. Yeah, we're keeping it positionally. So those three.
What have we done?
So those three. So of De Bruyne, Kante, and Fabinho, would they get in for any one of Gerrard, Lampard, and Vieira?
Oh,
for me, it's a no.
It's tough.
Although
it's tough, but
there's only one name I think could potentially drop out.
Lampard.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
I'm intrigued. No,
because okay, so if I'm gonna say, and the person who would replace him would be De Bruyne, and I think that's just purely from a technical level, what De Bruyne can do with the ball at his feet, I think is above what Lampard could do with the ball at his feet. And if I'm wanting to have a team that I think could cope and adjust to any circumstance, I'm saying team because there's 10 players in it. But if I'm saying okay, can De Bruyne eclipse what Frank Lampard did as a Premier League legend? I think potentially. The only difference, and it's a massive difference, is in Europe. De Bruyne can't chat to my man. Can't even look at him at all. So that's the only area where you could say, you know what, there's no chance De Bruyne is going to should be in a top 10. But he would be the only player I think that would be at risk because Vieira is not going anywhere.
Vieira's not going.
And Gerrard, I think he can hold his own against all of them. It's just Lampard, and then maybe that's a bit harsh.
Is it because more of I think it's called the case was Gerrard was a captain for Liverpool, Vieira was a captain for Arsenal, Lampard was like a sub vice captain. He still had someone else to kind of answer to.
It's not even that, I look at it I'm looking at it purely from. I'm looking at the football that was played in both eras, right?
Right.
So we've gone from an era in the past where it wasn't as quick because the speed, not every there was a clear separation between the fast players and everyone else, right? It was a clear difference. So you had a bit more time on the ball. I think the types of goals scored back in the past was better than it is now.
God, yeah.
we got long ranges. We don't get as
35
many.
is, passing into the goal.
Certain type of goal moves were better then than they are now. But in terms of a technical level, I think that's where Lampard, compared to the other two, Vieira and Gerrard, I think that's where he loses out. And that's the one thing I think De Bruyne would add in abundance over him. It's just his technical ability on the ball, and I think his positional awareness off the ball. Not to say Frank had bad awareness, he didn't. Not to say Frank was bad technically. To me, he was just a pure goal scoring midfielder. And I think De Bruyne has that. De Bruyne has that because he is that, but he also has the creativity on a whole nother level. So I think the mistake with this top 10 from 4-4-2, you don't have someone like Fabregas, who even though he wasn't in the league for long enough, that would be a better comparison. Fabregas versus De Bruyne of the two who you taking. Yeah. And then that's when it gets really, that's when it's like, that's a hard one because Fabregas dominated younger.
Yeah.
But De Bruyne's just got, technically De Bruyne's got more. But again, it's like, I'm a biased fan. So I'll be like, I want to keep Fabregas.
I want to keep Frank. I want to keep Frank. Them goals, I can't get beyond those goals. I can't, from years of consistent 10 plus goals for a midfielder as well. There's not many. I mean, he's our all-time top goal scorer for crying out loud. So when our strikers, as a game with Chelsea, if the strikers didn't turn up, he did. And I think it was like 10 years in a row as a midfielder, he was getting 10 plus more goals, which for a midfielder is still nuts. I get what you mean by the whole technical ability, but his goals are, for us, they're priceless.
All right, then I'll throw the same question back at you that I did regarding Scholes and Bernardo. Cup final scenario, who you having, De Bruyne or Lampard?
I'm still gonna have Lampard. No disrespect to De Bruyne, no disrespect. But when it comes to that, it's that the potential. For big clubs like Chelsea, Manchester United, Man City.
They're a big club. We can call them a big club.
But they're a wrong player, wrong team. It's the wrong team. United on the brain. City, it's because we're talking about Scholes United. But anyway, like for a big team like City, because they are. The big teams like that, you got to deliver on all kind of levels. He's delivered domestically, no doubt about that. Premier Leagues, FA Cup, I mean, and they've had rent on the League Cup up until recently, and they got evicted. It's that European, it's that European stage where it's still up for kind of a little bit of a debate. If they do a bit better this year, that conversation changes. But it's like, I just think. For someone who has a little bit more ability than Lampard, there's another gauge for him to get. I kind of feel there's more goals in him, because if you watch him in his early days at Chelsea, if you watch him and sometimes even at Wolfsburg, he was going for it. He was having cracks. He's got a foot on him. Yeah, but you got to remember that Manchester City are very much a systems team, so you don't deviate from the system. And that's why one of the things that baffled me was Jack Grealish going to Man City in the first place in the summer, right? And even the comments he made off the back of that transfer saying, I thought I'd see more of the ball. I thought I'd get more opportunities to express. I was like, you're not the star. Have you been watching Man City? Or are you watching your perceived vision of Man City? You ain't going to get the ball. You're not that guy. So I don't get where he got that belief from. But there's a good reasons to keep Frank in that squad. I think it's a very this is like an emotive one, because you're not losing Patrick, I'm not losing Frank. I mean, who's gonna replace Patrick Vieira? What, Kante? Like, I love N'Golo Kante, but he ain't replacing Patrick Vieira. Kante's a great midfielder, and he's been an incredible midfielder, and I think he will be in a top list for Premier League, top 10 midfielders of Premier League history. Yeah, definitely top 10 all-time players. Maybe, if you want to kick out Scholes, maybe. Yeah. And it depends. Man United fans like be like, brother, you all right over there, man? What you guys are on that budge? Shame don't do budge. Fan but there's none here to represent you guys. So if you want to come on as Man United fan, doors always wide open. Fight your case. Come defend your boy. But even Vieira, Even Gerrard, you can't lose. Well, Gerrard was, these are players you can, let's be honest, with all three of them, Gerrard, Lampard, and Vieira, these are three players you can go to war with. Yeah. And have no issues with them. They will be up for the fight, And, with Frank, he'll get that goal. He'll get the goal. No problems. And with Vieira, he will just intimidate you. But where are you going? Gerrard will give the words. Gerrard will, last minute, Gerrard will just come up with something. Yeah. So, okay, we'll keep the Fab 3.
You know, they're definitely
I think we
all-time
have to, yeah.
top Premier League players. As managers, as I said last time, only 2 of them can talk. The other one needs to go back to school. Sorry, Frank, but you know, it's just the truth. Truth hurts.
Oh, God.
Okay, let's get into another controversial one. Eric Cantona. Ooh, so looking at our list that's a bit of a tricky one because we've only got one striker on our list, and obviously
Harry Kane.
I'm saving him for last actually. So let's go for it's gonna have to be a bit of a curveball one then. Cantona or Van Dijk?
Big personalities.
That's it. Big personalities.
Big personalities.
2 players that are fundamentally important to their teams winning trophies. And also 2 players that when they left their previous teams in the league, you notice the difference.
Suffered.
So, that's a hard one.
That's a very
hard one. Do you go for the Maverick or do you just go for Mr. Smooth? Because Virgil's like a Rolls Royce. Everything just looks easy.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, he's been a little bit off since he's come back from his injury. He's not quite doing some things really well, but I'd say he's doing 8 out of 10 good performances.
He's not at his peak.
And the 2 out of 10 bad performances, they're not the Inter Milan game technically cost them, but it's not been detrimental to affect Liverpool that much. So, are you keeping the Maverick or are you bringing a Rolls Royce? And it's not easy.
This is tough because you can't even base it on position because they're 2 different positions, but we can base it on his personality and kind of like you can't even go on stage performing on the stage because if it's that Cantona's going to win. But if you're going to go on just like sheer like a Rolls Royce, that smoothness, like it's like an established name. Van Dijk is an established name.
But even saying performing on the stage, I think you could argue that with Virgil and what he does as a Liverpool player, and even the performances he's had in the season when they won the Premier League, the season when they won the Champions League, you're looking at a player that he just delivers.
Absolutely delivers.
So I think
I kind of want to say Virgil. I kind of want to say Virgil because Cantona was not at Man United for very long. It was a very short stint, and I think it was he definitely earned his stripes in Man United. But Man United he wasn't part of a treble team, was he?
No.
And I don't think Man United. I mean,
I think he came after that.
Oh yeah, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was there for it. Whereas with Liverpool, before that, they had the so-called best defender in the league with Lovren, but then Virgil came in and kind of put a bit of a. I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think
he left before.
And Man United, so they didn't really suffer with him going.
Oh yeah, he retired in 1997.
So just before, and I don't think they really suffered. Whereas when you saw Liverpool without Virgil the last season, and he was injured, they felt it. So it's not just his previous clubs that have suffered. The current clubs suffered because he came from Celtic, then he went to Southampton, and then he went to Liverpool. And it's almost like if he's not there, there's a problem. So as good as and to be honest, even though with the age that I am, I don't remember much of Cantona apart from like highlights. I've seen more of Virgil now playing on field. So purely because I can't really say Cantona because I don't remember much of him. I'm gonna go with Virgil.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go to Rolls Royce.
I'm gonna have to be the proxy for my brother because I know Craig would be like, listen, Eric Cantona ain't going nowhere because just what he did for Man United, the entertainment value you got, the Maverick. I mean, if Omri is like seen as one of the best Premier League players of all time, Eric Cantona was almost like the archetype of that entertainer. I mean, even the fact that Wayne Rooney emulated one of his celebrations in one of his goals, standing up, puff up the chest, the arms out. Eric Cantona was the man for all those things. Mate. So, are you not entertained?
The entertainer.
I was Cantona, but all right, I'll give it to you.
Characters.
If we're swapping him out, Virgil. You make the cut, mate.
Craig, don't be too hard on me, Fliffless, please.
If we need to have a follow up on this, we will.
Yeah.
If anyone disagrees with this, like jump in the comments, innit? We're ready for part 2
Already. We can take it.
All right, let's move on to Mr. Wayne Rooney. And I am going to go Wayne versus Raheem Sterling. I feel like that's kind of easy. I think it's Wayne. I like Raheem. I just don't.
I'm not
see
his
him.
biggest fan, but for what he did for Man United, you can't take that away. He's a man. He is a man. He's not an England legend. He's a Man United legend. He can have his.
You don't think he's an England legend?
Not really. No.
Oof.
No, I don't. And I can say that. No, yeah, I don't think so.
Who would you say is a bigger legend than him?
For England,
Yeah. Okay, would you say Kane's a bigger legend for England than Rooney?
he's delivered more for England in a short space of time. In a short space of time, he's actually delivered more. What? A final, 2 semis. The team looks better for it. The team performed better around him. Where when it was with England with Rooney, you had so much promise. That was like the golden generation. There's no way in that team with him, the likes of him, Gerrard, Lampard, Cole, and others that we couldn't get anywhere near.
Should have won a trophy.
We should have won it. We should have got a trophy, or at least get to a final or a semi-final.
There was too much division in that squad, and I think that's the biggest difference with the England team now. Is even though you have the club rivalries, that gets left at the door. Whereas there, you could just tell from looking at them body language like Lampard, Gerrard, them man didn't like playing together.
They didn't like playing together. It
I
didn't
want to
work.
play with you. How do you mean?
I'm the man. I'm the man in my club. I'm the man in my club, and that's the problem with that team was that every person was the man in their club.
Yeah.
So you had captains all over, which can sometimes be a good thing, but it was also a bad thing. And we've mentioned talking about Man United, where you had Bruno, then Ronaldo comes in, it upsets the apple cart just a little bit. Absolutely, we should have delivered more. This isn't necessarily a disrespect to Wayne. It's just that for all his time there and for all the goals he got, what was the return? That's my take on it. Is like, and also, and this is not his fault. I know we're getting off track slightly, but this bit's not his fault. I think we put way too much pressure on him, and we're far too reliant on him. So many mistakes were made with him, like the time in 2006 with the broken metatarsal. Why is he going? Why is he going? You can't stop. We had other strikers. We had other strikers. Let him heal proper. I think he's had one properly good tournament, which was 2004. Just electric, absolutely. The fearless Rooney. I remember the one goal he scored was against Newcastle United, where I think he'd just been booked. This is when he was young, when he was raw, and he just had that. He's like can be let off a leash sort of thing, and he just lashed it in the top of the net because he was mad.
I remember that goal.
What a signing! And it's like that was him. For those who don't know, for those who I sound like a blooming old man. For those who don't know, when Rooney first broke on the scene, it was mad.
He was on.
He was unplayable. He was big. He was strong, and he was quite quick. He was quite quick, and he was fearless. Young Rooney was fearless, and he scored some goals. I don't like the guy, but I can't. I don't like that guy, but I can't.
You can't knock his
early years. I'm talking from 2003 to about I want to say 2011 was when for Man United Rooney peak. Was it Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez? Damn. Man. Raheem, I like you, mate, but them some big shoes to fill.
Keeping Wayne. Wayne's not going anywhere.
Sorry, Raheem. Wayne ain't going nowhere.
Wayne's not going anywhere, and neither is Cristiano Ronaldo, because there's no one on the list that we can even have a conversation
early
with.
Cristiano Ronaldo, blooming heck, and he only got better.
So, and then of course we've got Henry. He ain't going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere.
So there's only one name. There's only one name where we can have a final debate about, and this is one that it really, really, really gets techie.
All right.
Alan Shearer. Harold Kane.
Wait, Alan Shearer and Kane?
Harold Kane. Harry Kane. I'm going to call him Harold.
Harry Kane.
So, now, what's interesting with that is Kane is fast chasing down Shearer's record and will probably break it at some point. Hopefully not this season, because
I don't think he's not going to do it this season, but if he stays fit, and possibly even goes to a team where he's going to stop dropping back, he can do it.
Yeah, so he's on 178 and Shearer's on 260, so he's not doing it this season. But,
couple 30-goal seasons.
I mean, potentially. Rooney, Kane could end up being third in the all-time list. So Andrew Cole's on 187, Aguero's on 184. So Kane could, if he carries on at the rate he's been scoring at this season, well, since he started scoring again, because he gave up on now that for a period of time, he could end up third.
Respectable.
Which would make him top scorer in the top goal scorer for the league, but then it would also, like for the league for this season, but also put him nicely placed with, you'd argue if you're chasing down 260, you argue that within 2 seasons, maybe 3, he'll get it in 3.
Yeah.
If he really goes on the mad, if he moves to say a City, maybe he could have like a 40-goal season, which is not impossible, and then he might do it in 2.
He can do it.
So I think maybe in 3, maybe 4 years he'll take Shearer's record, unless if he falls off completely, but we'll see. But then, do you pick Harry Kane over Alan Shearer? Because Alan Shearer, let's just be honest, like when he had the chance to move to Manchester United, chose not to.
Nope.
Went to Newcastle, and he just bagged goals.
Absolutely.
Absolute gunman.
And he is the epitome almost of the Premier League, what being an all-time top scorer. And it's like all of his goals were a different kind of thing. There were penalties, there were headers, there were screamers.
His power drivers, man. They
power
were just
drivers,
a whole
30 yarders. Damn. I mean, God, I miss that Premier League. God, I miss that area of the Premier League. Absolute screamers. Hammer of the foot.
When a commentator like Martin Tyler, and when you just know it's going to be a great goal.
And he sold his name. It's like
the one-handed up celebration,
the cheer, one-hand cheer, mate. Newcastle legend, favourite son. I mean, it's poetic. It's romantic because it's just everything. But that's what the Newcastle fans are for. Like, they might not be winning the trophies, but they're scoring the goals. You're going to see Alan Shearer put in an absolute shift. What's he going to do? Is he score a hat trick with his head? And it's Newcastle, another. That big club kind of feeling. Are they returning back to those days? Who knows?
And let's add one other thing, which is an interesting one in comparing the two. And I think maybe it might not be a fair thing to bring up, but I can't remember many opposition players, fans, or even pundits, comments, having an issue with Shearer as a player. I don't really think of many negative things said against him.
Not really.
Whereas for Harry Kane, he has the stench of he's a bit of a diver. He likes the whole back, like his dangerous play when he backs into other players.
Yeah,
I think when you compare them, and I know Shearer had a few games where he might have jumped for a header and elbowed someone in the face, and he's had a few little minor on the pitch altercations and stuff. But aside from that, you can't really think of many negative marks against him where you could argue this guy is a bit of a dirty player. Whereas with Kane, like cheating, diving,
favoritism,
bleep. That's kind of what you think of with him, whereas you don't have that with Shearer.
No,
I think that I would say don't really know if you'd say it matters in an all-time top 10, but I think it's a good factor.
I think it kind of does. I think it does because if you're talking, it's more than just the football. I think the stuff off the pitch is just as important, maybe just a little bit more important. Like I said, with the likes when you're taking on likes of Salah versus Henry. All right, Salah, he's built different. It's a different kind of thing. This where he comes from is different. His build up is different. His reason for being is different. We got Henry. You got so much more. You didn't just get a footballer. You got an entertainer.
That's true.
Same with Cantona. It's like they're a brand. They are. There's such a brand that when you go there, like you wouldn't even need to have Henry to kick a ball. Just being in his presence of what he's going to say and what he's going to do. And let's be real, the man looked good. The man would dress up. That French, that vavavoom, that cool. He was a marketing ploy. Salah's not bad. Salah is not the most. He's marketable, but
there's a limit to how.
There's a limit to. Yeah. I mean, put it this way. You could have Henry in a movie. I don't know if I'd have Salah in a movie. As like saying lines.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Salah in a movie. I'm definitely not having Kane in a movie.
No, but we could have Shearer in a movie. In fact, Shearer was in the movie.
There you go.
Shearer was in the movie. It's personalities really. Shearer is a personality. Henry was a personality. Vieira was a personality. They had so much more. Maybe because they had a bit more. I wouldn't say they had just maybe a little bit more articulate. I don't know. And maybe back then, I don't know if the press training was different to how it is then to what it is now.
I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Harry Kane's boring.
He's quite boring.
That's what it is. The man's just boring. Like, I don't care. Like, I just don't care much for him.
Shearer is more interesting.
Shearer feels, without even knowing him, you just get the impression that he's more approachable, more likable, more personable. Whereas if Harry Kane, I feel like I'd be like, right, mate, yeah, how you doing? I'm good, thanks. Yeah,
what could you say? What really could you say to him?
Did you get up to this weekend? Oh, not much.
Score goal. Tottenham Spurs.
Played my daughter. All right, cool. Yeah. Mrs. is all right. Yeah. We was like golf the other day. Yeah. I was golf. Oh, it was great. Yeah.
It's a bit tense. It feels a bit tense sometimes. Like,
it feels like you're falling asleep. Like I'm falling asleep while I was talking to the guy. You know what I mean? So like, yeah.
When you put it down like that, because you got to be more than just. You don't just look at sport, because if you're just looking at sports stars for their sporting ability, I think this list is different. But if you're looking at the whole package,
then
there's a reason why they say Lewis Hamilton is the best F1 driver of all time. It's not his on track ability; it's off the field. Whether it's divisive as it is, he is a personality off it. He's everywhere. He's in fashion. He's in activism. He's vegan. He's this and that. He's not a fool. He's got his appeal has got to stretch.
He's got a wide reach. Other drivers may not necessarily have that.
Hell, look at what we talked about before when we liked Mourinho. I mean, would you go to the back? Would many people turn to the back page? My mum said, God rest her soul, my mum would go to that back page of a newspaper to see Mourinho. She'd never do that for any other manager, but for Mourinho, case in point. You know what I mean? You're not doing it for, say, I don't know, Sean Dyche or David Moyes.
Sean Dyche would be a great Bond villain, though.
He would be a great Bond villain.
Not saying that he's that bad. Like, I don't know if he's bad. I think he's a cool guy. I think he'd be a great Bond villain. He's got the voice already set. He's got the look.
That'd be hilarious.
Be great.
But you get what I mean, though. They're people. They are, and even though the players now and then are more approachable, I think making them more approachable has humanized them fine, but it kind of takes away the air of mystery around. Oh, I wonder what they'd be like if I met them in their prime. Like if you met Henry in his prime or Shearer's prime, what would
in his prime? If I met Henry now, hey, whenever you're ready, there's a space in the podcast. If you ever listen to this, there's like, we got you. We'll get you some food as well. Yeah,
we'll get you some food. I think when you break it down like that, Alan Shearer just seems it becomes easier. It becomes easier and easier and easier. Alan Shearer's it's got to be Shearer.
Sure. Well, that is true. That is that. Only Van Dijk and Salah made it into the top 10 list. We might have to revisit this list next time. But what does that go to say? Maybe that's a sign Liverpool got the Premier League this season. But if they don't have it, don't come for me. But if they do get it, I did predict pre-season Liverpool are going to bring home the title. It's going to come down to that game between them and Manchester City in a couple of weeks. So we're going to have a massive podcast for that. I've got a Liverpool supporting friend that's going to jump on the podcast. Of course, our resident cameraman, creative director in the background there, Malachi, he is a massive, massive, massive Liverpool fan. So he might have a few words, although he might just speak through us. So we might just share his thoughts on that episode. And do you agree with us? Do you think that only Salah and Van Dijk make it into our top 10? Do you want to kick them out and leave the original list? Or do you want to drop out Scholes or Vieira or Ronaldo or Shearer?
Good luck.
Ooh. And if you even try and say Henry, I'm coming to your house. Like just put your address, but just put an occasion in the comments if you try and say Henry and I'm there in it. Like, don't move silly. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. You wouldn't dare do that. Anyway, have a good evening. See you guys next time.
Safe.
Bye.